Hi everyone, welcome back. We're back up here again today working on the 70 Ford frame swap onto the 2000 Chevrolet. And we're going to try and work on some of the rust. I'm going to flip around and show you what we're doing. Alright, we're on the passenger side. Driver's side's worse, but we're going to go ahead and I'm going to try and get some of this done this evening. We have this brace here, it's pretty solid. It's cut. We got to do some of the stuff there, but I think I can cut here off that brace. The floor is all pitted, but I beat around on it. I think I can come back here, cut across, and cut out this square because there's a brace that goes that way underneath, so I can't. But I'm gonna cut all this rust, right here out with it. And then I'm gonna go back and I'll cut up and over and do a little sliver there and do this piece, cut it right on the side because it actually ain't bad through here. After we get that piece in, we're gonna try and get this corner out here made, so then that way that's fixed. Cut it out and make a piece for that. Then we're gonna come in here and we'll cut this off. We might just do a angle like that and make that corner piece. We'll try and get all them made up this evening before I'm done for today, so that way passenger side's good. Just do it cheap. This piece of sheet metal is what I'm gonna use. It's the front off an old wash machine. Good sheet metal, it's flat. Thickness is okay for that little corner patch of the floor. So that's what we're gonna use for it. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead. I tried to find my tripod because I was gonna set y'all up so you could watch me, but I ain't having no luck finding it, so I don't know where it's at. I guess I'm gonna have to order another one. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out, and then we'll be back when I'm making my template to lay on the sheet metal, so then we can go that way. But I'm gonna go and cut this out and I'll be right back. All right, I just marked me straight line and a straight line. I'm actually going to, because I got rust right on the edge there, I'm gonna just cut all the way across and cut down this side of the seam, because that little bead roll piece ain't gonna affect anything being gone because it's so short right here anyways. If it would have been rusty here too, we'd have cut the whole piece and then I'd have rolled a bead to match and we'd put it back. But for what the truck is, really ain't gonna have nothing that fancy. We just want the floor solid. That way nobody falls through the floor and you can have a nice interior. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut that out, and then we'll be right back. All right, I've been cutting. This is a brace that's under the floor, so I got the floor cut off of it. And then that's a brace that's under the floor, so I got cut off it. And then that's a brace that's under the floor that I got the floor cut off it, and it was pretty bad up here, so I cut across. I got to get underneath, and I'm gonna cut across right there because of the grinder. I don't want to cut this up too bad, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna do a piece here, and I was gonna go to, so it was covering that. But looking at it, I ain't so sure that I ain't gonna cut it on up like that and cut it over and just do one simple piece, because it'll be simpler that way. Because then I can just put one bin right there to lay right to the floor and weld it way around everything. Then I can go underneath it and I can weld it to the floor braces to make it like that. That's probably what I'm gonna do. So I'm probably just gonna go ahead and cut a big piece out, then I'm gonna lay it in here and mark it, cut the rest of that out, and then weld it in. So then that way I'm not trying to do a small piece here and a big piece and something funny. And then after all that's done, then we'll come in here and we'll fix that piece and that. Then we'll go underneath it and we'll fix the inner rocker there. But I'm gonna get some measurements on that and draw it out on our wash machine front so we can get it cut out, and we'll be back. All right, I got our piece marked out. I had to do a line down the edge, so I'm gonna cut all four corners so we can leave this lip here. But I'm gonna cut it all out, and after I get it cut out, we'll carry it over to the truck and figure out where we got to put a bend in it at. We'll get it fitting the floor good. Then I can mark the edge of this out on everything and get the floor trimmed up for this to fit in it. All right, I got it cut out of there, so take it up here and we're gonna figure out where it needs to be, and I'm gonna pretty much push it down to kind of put a bend when I get it how I want it. Then I'll take it out, bend it with my hand till it sets right. Then I'm gonna trim around it. I'm gonna stick it in there, trace it, and then I'm gonna tack it in. When I get a piece fitted like I want it and we're tacking it in, we'll be back. All right, I got it kind of tacked in pretty good. Well, I've started welding it. I'm gonna weld it fully out, but just bounce my welds around. But I got that piece is fit like it's supposed to now. So I think I'm going to cut all this out now and make the new inner piece there, which I should do. Cut everything out and get this piece made first and then put the inner. I don't really know which way I need to do this. Guess I'm gonna think about it for a second and then you'll see what I figure out, because you'll be seeing me fix one or the other. The inside one's gonna be simpler. And I guess by doing the inside one, then I kind of got a guide for my curve here. But if I go ahead and fix this, then I can cut the inside piece to fit it. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it for just a second and then we'll be back and you'll see what I figured out. All right, I got carried away and then realized that I hadn't videoed or talked to y'all. Well, I decided to do this section first. I didn't video it cut out or anything, but I cut it. I ain't finished grinding it all out yet. This stuff's still a little high. Cut it across here, up, and then right here. I made this little template piece. That way it would sit in there. Get you from the inside. Let me try and get my light to cut on. All right, the light's on. You can see where I welded it here. We had a big hole here, and where this shit's just so rusty, but I welded across that way. Down, it's down there. But now you can see it's hanging over. I got a little dent right here where I overworked it when I was trying to bend it, but where it's at, it's gonna be okay. I marked my line of where it needed to bend. I drew my curve, and then I just went over there on the vise and put a curved block of metal in there for like your body kit, so your dolly, a curved dolly. And then I took this hammer and just worked it around until I got the curve that we wanted. Like I said, I got that one dent, but I went ahead and welded it in. Now I'm gonna be able to come in here and I'm gonna just bend. I'm gonna take pliers and get it started on my bend. Then I'll take the dolly and I'm gonna bend that so it'll be out here for the seal. It'll be straight out. Then when we cut all this out and put a new piece, it'll sandwich to that. So if this ain't perfect, the next piece we put in, this is just adding more strength, because all this does is hold the seal anyways. But that was my little template. And then I just laid it on here, made it just a little bit taller. Just cut curve out with a grinder, took it out, hammered it around, and got it in there. But I didn't even take a dang picture of it to put in here, because like I said, I got carried away and then I was like, I ain't videoed nothing. But I'm gonna find some pliers so I can start working that lip out. And then we're going to mark all this in here out so we can cut it to patch it up. Then we'll have a lot of this top corner issues all fixed here. But I'm gonna find some pliers and then we'll be back. All right, bent that little lip up. I just grabbed it with pliers, bent it around. That's that little curved dolly piece I had in the vise, because I actually brought it back and I hammered it around like that to get a little more curve in it, and then so I can flatten the back. Now we're gonna make this piece. I've got that. I'm gonna cut it out and I'm gonna draw a straight line there. But all I did, I just laid it up here, laid my Sharpie flat on the floor and rolled it around. So I got my basic shape. So I'm gonna cut that out and then we'll grind on it just a little bit to make it fit. But we're gonna get it, this template cut out of here, then get it laid out and we'll be back. All right, drew the piece out, cut it, I grinded around the edge. It's gonna fit pretty good. About like that. All my seams is gonna be good. So now I can mark it and cut all that crap out. And all right, I drew my piece out on here, right there. Just cut it out. And I cleaned around the edges. Still got to cut all the stuff out of here, but kind of hard to do with one hand, but there it goes. I mean, everything fits up pretty good. And then, you know, it gives us our little piece back here. We'll still have to do a little bit more work in there when that's welded on. Probably fill it all up with weld right there and then grind it off to fix that. But I may cut that off and put another piece there. I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna get that stuff cut out, get this thing tacked in there, and we'll be back. And like I said, I'd show you more of this stuff when I was doing it, but I can't find my tripod. And trying to rig up a way for the camera to stay just don't work very well, especially when you're in constantly moving and you're in this cab. But I'm gonna get that stuff cut out and get that piece tacked in and we'll be back. All right, got welded in. It still all needs to be ground. Metal's thin in this truck. I guess where it's old, so it's kind of rusty, but gotta grind all that stuff up. And then I think I got a couple little holes that I blowed in like there that I gotta fix, and I'm gonna clean that up and see if I got anything up there that I gotta fix. But there is that. So it's way better than falling through the floor. And then out here, I stopped messing with it because like I filled all this up with weld here, and I've got it a little high still. It really needs a little bit more weld right here, but I'm scared that if I keep on, I'm just gonna wind up making this metal too thin, trying to keep it cleaning it, because I keep bumping it when I'm doing it. So I almost think that it's just gonna stay like that because it's all solid. It's just where there was a big hole, so you know I've built up quite a bit. I need to weld. I just now seen that I need to weld this seam, so I weld that seam up. Done the stuff down here, but all the rust that was here is all gone now. So it's almost ready for a skim coat, but I mean, you can see the truck's got, like if we was trying to go for perfect, we would have to do way more than what we're doing. But I probably will run a little bit more weld right there and just try not to hit that with the grinder. I don't know. I may just smooth it up with a little bit of Bondo there. I'm Not really sure. I know I'll weld that one, but I think I'm gonna call it a night at that. Cause now there's all the rust on this side is fixed. There are no holes or nothing back here nowhere. Need to cut a stud off right there that's sticking up, but then we got to do that side, and that side's a little worse than this side was, but same rust, it's just a little bit bigger spot. But I guess that's gonna be tonight, and y'all see me back in the morning. We'll probably start working on that side unless I decide there's something else I want to work on it. I get sidetracked really easy. But the plan is to do that side tomorrow. It's not saying that's what we'll do. We might be working on the door, but I'll see y'all in the morning. All right. Side's actually a little better than what I thought it was going to be, because we're over here on the driver's side now, and this whole lip right here is pretty good on this one. So that's a good thing. This is all the brace. You can see the floors just peeling up off the, and you can see where the floor's already separated off the brace there. So that's a good thing. So we can actually be able to grind the bolts and stuff off the brace and clean it up. That'll be pretty good. We are coming back further on this patch, but I may stop it here and then do another patch, figure out where it stops, beat on it with a screwdriver and figure out how far back here's got to go. If it only stops like here, I'll probably just have the little notch on it so it lays there and we can weld it around. Going to probably take it right to the other side of this hump right here, so right across there. I'm gonna beat on it with a screwdriver and make sure all this over here is good, but I think it all gonna be able to be cut out. And should be able to go right here up underneath the dimmer switch. And then we still got to do the same patch in there, but it's still gonna be small. But then we got a hole up here. But I'm gonna beat around on it and see if we need to go all the way up there, or if this needs to be cut out and just do a little small one there. But at least this is all good on this one, so that's better. But I'm gonna get this stuff, figure out, beat on it, and cut it out. And when I get it cut out, then we'll be back. We'll make our templates and we'll cut it out of the plate. All right, I got it cut out. There's part of it. The rest of it's chunks of it laying in the floor because I had to break it out in sections. Got it down to the brace. I got to clean on it some still. I got to clean on the side. I'm gonna measure my piece. I think I'm gonna stop it here. Then I'm gonna do this piece because this has a little bit of a curve up that way. So to make it fit right, if I put this one to it, then I'm gonna wind up cutting this one, or I'm gonna have a funky kink in it. So I'm gonna just make it one, and then I'm gonna just weld the seam and grind it off, and it'll be fine. Unless I change my mind when I go to cutting it out, because as y'all can tell, I'm indecisive sometimes on how I want to do something until I'm in the middle of doing it. But I'm gonna get all my measurements took, so then we can go to the rest of our wash machine part and cut the pieces out. But I'm gonna get these measured out, and when I get marked on the piece of metal, I'll show you, and then we'll cut it out. All right, I got it drew out on our plate here. So I'm gonna take the grinder and cut it out, clean the edges up on it, then we'll take it back in there in the floor and see where we got to put our bend in it, and then we'll get it tacked in. All right, we got it cut out of our piece. Walk up here. Like I said, I'm sorry I ain't got a tripod right now. I don't know where my tripod went. Alright, I cut it a little long. So I'm gonna mark my bend, put my bend in it, and then figure out how I gotta notch that. and then we'll be back. All right, we got that one all tacked in all the way around. Then I cut out some more here and made her a little piece and tacked it all in. And I'll let the light here so we can see. I guess now I'm going to try and address that. It's actually nowhere near as bad as the other side was. It's just, you can tell it's thin, so I'm probably gonna cut it out up here so we know we're in good metal. So then that way that can be welded in. And then I guess we need the wire wheel in the whole truck, make sure that we ain't got something else in there. Really starting to think in one way that I probably should have just cut the whole thing out. Cut the whole piece and replace the whole floor pan. Just because the pitted metal just ain't ever gonna look that great. But I beat around on it with a screwdriver and stuff and not really had no problems. So time it's all wire wheeled, primered, then you got the kill mat on it and carpet, and then underneath this wire wheeled and bed lined. I mean, probably plenty good enough for a long time. So I guess I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do in here. And I got one little hole there that I got to fix still, that I blowed through when I was welding, but I figured I'd let it cool down and then I'm going to weld it up. But I'll be back when I figure out how big I'm going to do the patch and stuff in there. All right, change of plans. Grinded some over there and beat on it with a screwdriver, and that stuff's pretty solid, so we're not patching it. This is what we're gonna work on next. I've cleaned up around it some so we can see what we're dealing with. And normally I'll cut the stuff out and then I'll lay a piece of paper up there and rub my finger on the edge and it puts the line, and that's how I make my template. And that may be what I go back to, but I've seen videos of people putting tape over it and drawing their stuff out. So I figured I'd try that. So I done that. I drew it out, then I peeled the tape off and I stuck it to the metal back here. Well, when I cut my line, I ripped the piece off, so I had to add a little bit there. But so now we got that. So now I'm gonna peel the tape off and cut that out. And then I'm gonna carry this piece back up to the truck because it's gonna have a bend like right in here somewhere for the shape of the cab right there. And when we get it where it fits good, then we'll lay this over it, we'll trace it out, cut it, so then that way this will fit in there flush and we'll have a little bitty gap all around it to tack into, so that way when we grind it smooth, the weld's still good. So I'm gonna peel this piece back off, get it cut out, and then we'll be back before I bend it. All right, we're back over here at the door. Got the piece cut out, and it's gonna go not right off the edge some, and then you see where we're gonna have to put that bend because we got rust that goes up into the top. So it's gonna be that way, and it'll fit like that right there. So I'm going to, because it's hard to hold the camera and do this stuff, I'm gonna try and mark my two sides so that way I know where this is at. And then I'm gonna get over here where it's good and flat, and I'm gonna shape this piece to this. Once I got it fitting pretty good this way, then I'm gonna lay it on here and I'm gonna trace it out and we'll cut it out. Then we'll put it in there and we'll finish bending it around so it fits like it's supposed to. Then we'll tack it all up. So I'm gonna shape on this and then we'll be back. All right, I put a little curve in it, and then I got that top piece and it sits really good all the way around. It's off just a little bit right here, but you know, it's gonna sit in some. And if we gotta pry on it just a little bit while we're tacking around, we'll make it work. Feels real good, but that's a really good basic shape for it. So now I'm gonna lay it over this, mark all my lines out, and then we'll get it cut out, and then we'll be ready to start tacking this in. All right, got it all marked out. So now I'm gonna take the grinder and the cutting disc, and cut it out, then we'll be back. All right, we got it cut out. So now it's there, and then our new piece, pretty close to what we was going for. I have to have it a little big right here, but if I hold it, it fits pretty good all through there. Up here, that gap there's a touch big, but we'll fix it with weld. But you can see I gotta trim some right there because I got it too long. Just not a bad problem. So I'm gonna grind some of this stuff in here, clean it up some. Grind on this till it fits in there, and then I'll put some tacks on it, and then we'll be back and look at it. All right, I got it tacked in, fits up pretty good. I'm going to finish welding this out. I'm gonna bounce around with my tacks and stuff. I'm gonna get it welded out, then we'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, I got it all tacked all the way around. Now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna finish grinding it so we get it pretty smooth, and then see if we got any little spots. I think I went back and I've got all the little holes from tacking it around, but we'll grind on it and see what's left. All right, a lot of it smoothed up really good. When I went across it, I got a little hole right there. I got to finish welding up that I'd missed, and then I got to finish grinding this bottom piece, and I got one little hole right here. So really that hole and that hole, and then grind a little bit on the bottom, and it's ready for a skim coat, and then onto that one. But I think that's gonna be it for tonight, and that one will just be tomorrow. But all right, I'll see y'all in the morning. All right, we're back up here this morning. I was gonna do this patch here first on the door, so that way the door was good. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and try and tackle this fender here, because it's pretty rough, and that there ain't gonna be as time consuming to fix. And plus it's got the ground hooked into it right now, so got a ground point. I think I've pushed it around some and I can make it stay back like that because I bent some stuff. So I think I'm gonna mark me some lines out, and I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna come on back over in here, and then probably right in here. Not exactly sure how I want to do the top because we got rust to here, so I don't know if I want to go up, go over, and then angle. That way this is on angle, and we got this dent here, but I'm gonna make this solid so it quits moving. Then I can take the block and the hammer and try and fix the dent, because I worked on it some already before I got on the camera and helped it some. That's how I got it where it wants to stay back like it is. But we'll fix the rust, so then that way the fender quits flopping. Then we're gonna beat the dent out. But I guess I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna cut this out, and then we'll be back and we'll start making a patch for it. All right, I think that's how I'm gonna cut it. Go all the way around the bottom. So we'll have the lip there, up, then that. And everywhere I got it marked, we're getting in good metal. And I done this one angled because it'll be easier to blend an angled cut than a straight one. And it's got us right in the edge of the dent. So if I'd went straight up, we'd have been right in the main part of the dent. So it'd have been harder to work. So I done it like this, so we can get, you know, mainly we're shooting for this peak on both sides to line up good. You get them, you know, that this bend and this bend, they line up good. Everything else is downhill from there, because you can twist that around or however when you're doing it. Obviously, you know, it'd have been nice if we could have just stayed in the center of this, or right actually under this would have been nice, because of the way your eyes catch when you're going. But you know, when you got rust up here, you kind of got to do what you got to do. So I'm gonna get this cut out, and then we're gonna make a template and start bending some metal around and trying to get something to fit back. All right, we got it all cut out. So we got our piece to make our template out of. I had to get bent up a little bit at the bottom. I still got just a touch down here to clean up that was stuck because of the rivets. But I went ahead and see, it's done. I bent it around enough that it's flattened out here, and it's not supposed to be. Good thing about it is that ends where it's rusted. Still got our curve that we need. We see our bend for the bottom there, and how tall the bottom needs to be. And this side, I actually didn't hurt where the bend is. So we got our reference point where to go from here to there, and you know, for that bend, we know what that curve needs to be. So I'll probably bend this side back around until it's about like that side, so that way our curve's all good. Then I'm gonna take and lay a piece of paper over this, mark everything out, you know, because the paper will form to everything. And we can lay it out on our metal and do that. Clean up around the edges of this, and I got to finish getting that piece of this off the bottom, because I didn't trash this piece, being I needed a template. I just bent it down and cut it. Now I can clean the other stuff off, but we use this to make our template. So I'm gonna get this stuff all cleaned up, and then make my template out of this to lay it out on the metal, and then we'll be back. All right, took my piece of metal, this piece of paper, and I held it around on it and done all my bends and got everything figured out that we needed to with that. Then laid it on here and traced it out. So now I'm gonna cut this out, and then we'll start bending it to get these curves. That way we can start fitting it in the truck. All right, we got the piece cut out. So now I'm gonna mark out where my bends need to be, and I'm gonna start shaping it around and trying to get the curve and all in it that we gotta have. And once I've got some of it done, or getting pretty close, feeling like it's fitting pretty good, I'll bring you back and let you see it. All right, just showing you, I'm just working it. I just put my pink how it needs to be, and then I'm just working it around. I got that in there where it does pretty good now. So we're gonna start on that one. And then after that one, like I said, we'll have to go to the other end to get the arch right. But I'm just showing you a little bit of what I was doing, means I ain't got the tripod to put you up so you can watch me. All right, we got it pretty close on how it's gotta be. I had to shape it some in the truck, but I mean, it's pretty dang close to what we're needing and all. So there's our new piece. So now I'm going to finish cleaning up on the truck and all, and then we'll start tacking this in, and we'll tack it in from the top, because I got that all. Trying to do this one-handed ain't very fun, but that all is pretty good right there. So we're gonna get all them peaks there tacked in so we know they're good, and then tack the top in. Then we'll work to make that shape better. Then we'll deal with the bottom one. But being them there fit pretty good, and they're gonna be what your eyes hit from the top, we'll start with that because they need to be really good there. And then that curve there, we can work on it some more on the truck, because like I said, I bent the bottom piece and stuff taking it off, so we can kind of shape it a little better when we get it on the truck, and then we'll make the bottom right when we get it on there. I still got to cut the little notch in that flat on the bottom for the fender bolt, where it's down there. So I have to mark and notch that out still too. But I'm gonna get the truck cleaned up, get that notch cut on here, and then we'll be back and we'll be tacking this in. All right, it's actually the next day, because I started welding on it and then I ran out of welding gas and I had to go get more. Well, I swapped it off the other welder, but we've got it all welded up all the way around, so it looks pretty good. Definitely way better than it was, no doubt. Our seaming all lines up pretty good. So now it's ready for a small, really thin coat of Londo, just like that one. So now we got to fix this piece, and then the whole bottom of this side is done. Then we'll have to move to the other side. But there's that one all buttoned out. We'll still have to work this dent some, being the fender ain't wobbling around now. And with the fender doing what it done, it was a pain. Being it wanted to fold out, so trying to get everything that way was really kind of aggravating. I guess I should have hooked a strap or something, pulled that fender in, so that way it stayed. But I wound up tacking this, getting this piece here tacked in, and then I pulled it in. I got this tacked. I got some tacks here, and then just that peak. Then I grabbed the bottom and I pulled it in, and I clamped it to the inner structure. Then I got my tacks around, and I actually wound up having to trim. The panels overlap some there, so I had to actually trim on them to get that fixed. But it's just because the fender was wanting to curl out. But there's that one. Now I guess we'll start working on the small one beside it. All right, I'm gonna do this patch on this one now. And it's got a little bubbling to there. I'm gonna grind on it, so we're probably gonna be roughly in here to be good metal, but I'll grind and see, because it may be good metal right here, but the way it's starting to bubble up, I almost think we're gonna have to be here. And we're just gonna go across, just do that little piece there. And so I'm gonna get it cut out, marked and cut out, and we'll get the new one made, and I'll show you the hole, and then I'll tack it in. I know it's kind of repetitive, being you done seen me do that one and that one, but this is the last one on this side, and then I won't video none of the stuff on the other side, because this the same as this one and that one. They're basically the same. But let's get this one cut out, and we'll get a new piece made, and we'll be back. All right, we got this piece cut out. It was like that. And we cut our patch, welded it around, so it's all good now too. So now the fender's good, the door's good, door's good. So go to the other side, and I'm not really gonna video much over here either. I didn't show y'all much on that one because you done seen me fixing the fender and stuff. Same little spot there that was on the other side, and then this spot, it actually don't come up in the top like the other side did, but it's full of Bondo, so it's got to be fixed. And it's rusted in here, so we're gonna have to make the new inside panel and then the outside and fix the rust here, so that way it's all good. And then the front would just be that little patch on the outside, but you can see somebody's globbed it up. So probably gonna cut in this range on the outside because it's good across, and then down right in here, and then probably cut curve there, cut it off, make this lower corner, put that curve on it, and then make the piece and cut it off here that's got that curve. And then the skin on the outside will bend the new lip on it. But I'm not really going to show y'all much of it. I'll get it cut out. I'll show you the stuff cut out, and I'll show you the stuff back in it like we did on the other side. That way y'all ain't seeing repetitive over and over. But I'm going to get it marked, cut out. I'll show you it cut out, and then we'll make the new piece. All right, we've started making this piece, and I've got it where it's fitting pretty decent now. The whole thing is had to be bubbled out. I don't know if you can see it that great in the picture. I tried to do this bend here without putting them cuts in it, and it just was not working for me. I got aggravated because it would mess this up. So then I just went home. Had to call it a day. Come back, mess with it some this morning, got all this smoothed back out. I know it still looks rough, but it's smooth. Then I just marked and put some cuts in it and trimmed it, and it all fits pretty good that way now. It comes off the door, so you got that. So let's show you the outside. Outside skin fits pretty good. Ain't nothing welded in, tacked in or nothing. It's just that one clamp. So now I think I'm probably gonna put some tacks on it so it don't move, around. And then I'm going to make this piece, because see, now I got something to work off of, so I can make a little paper template, shape it, put it in, and then we'll have to cut a little bit more right here because there's a little bit of rust, and do the same thing with it. And then when I tack these in, we'll tack all them, then I'll weld the gaps and grind everything. Tried to make it all out of one piece, but my skill level is not quite there yet on that. Just, I guess, keep practicing. Maybe one day I'll be able to do that bend on top of this dome, because this thing's domed both ways, and then that bend in it. But I'm just not there yet, so I had to put the relief cuts in it. But I just figured I'd show y'all that, because it took way longer to do that than I thought it would do, than I thought it was going to be. But I guess it's part of it. So now I'm going to figure out and make these pieces, and then we'll be back. All right, we got it all straightened out and fixed up there, and we got that up there fixed too. And on the inside, still needs a little bit more grinding, but battery's dead right now. And we'll have to, because it's still a little high right here, it'll be grinded. But we made a whole new piece, bubbled out like you seen, so it's all solid. Then we made our filler there from there. But it all turned out pretty good. So I think that's gonna be it for this video. We got both pieces of the cab fixed on this side. We got, the door on that side, the door on this side, fender. This is all that's fixed. We fixed our seal piece here, the inner piece, patched the floor on both sides. So the cab is pretty much solid now, which is a good thing. Normally we go on with the frame stuff and then deal with the cab after it's done, but I was dreading it, so I figured I'd go ahead and get it over with. So now I got some dents that I'll have to take the stud gun and I'm gonna pull out on there, and there's a pretty good one right here. Had to pull it out. So, but pretty much all the rust is straightened out now on the cab, front fender. I know we'll have to do something to the bed when we get to it. But that's going to do it on this video, and we'll see you on the next one.